Hey there, Start here. So I've plowed my way through all the levels up to level 99 using my FTKO team. It was pretty much the same team that I mentioned in my video that I put out yesterday, but I just made one small adjustment for to account for the defense and spirit buff that the boss puts up. So I'll show you that team real quick. I will say apparently for those of you that are hoping for like a rank 1 clear, the HP lock modifier is apparently broken. There was something in the news about it, and apparently if you activate that one, you can't actually kill the boss. The boss becomes essentially invincible once you pass the threshold, so don't use that one. But this is just a clear up to level 99 on the first turn type of team. You can activate a few of the bonus mods, the ones that you can safely activate without having to worry about affecting your damage or anything like that would be the party defense and spirit, enemy attack and mag, and party elemental resists. Those are perfectly safe to activate for this particular clear if you just want like a little bit of extra bonus. But really this is just the team I put together just to quickly clear and go up to level 99. For those of you that like to farm for like the Fortuna awards, this team might also work out for you. But like I said, that HP lock bonus mod is currently bugged. Gumi will probably fix it at some point. So currently you can't actually get like a full bonus mod clear with that one turned on. All right, but let's get to the first turn clear team. So this should look familiar to you if you saw my video that I put out yesterday, with one exception. That exception being Axstar has been taken out of the lineup, and I threw in Aphmau. And Aphmau is there because Aphmau does a perfect dispel on her LB, while also doing an 88% full break and 145% imperil to fire and lightning. All right, but really it's just that perfect dispel that that I really want on the LB. Now, if you don't have an Aphmau, or you don't have an Aphmau that's EX2 to get the first turn LB, very easy swap would be Cacteria. If you have Cacteria, she can do a perfect dispel on her attack and mag break Magnus in her Brave Shift form, and then you can use her 89% defense and spirit breaks on the same turn. She can triple cast all of that, so you can perfect dispel the defense and spirit buff and then do the 89% defense and spirit break, and then you just have to rely on Tsukiko's fire and peril in that case. And so definitely an easy swap there. Sylvie can easily be swapped out with the new Dark Lineage Fina. She's really great for this one because she can supply the buffs and the LB damage buff, as well as 2 killers to go along with it. Dark Lineage Fina has all the killers to match up. Tsukiko can be replaced by an EX2 Summoner Lena. So Tsukiko's really here for the fire support, as well as putting up the Imperil field to get rid of the boss's buff field. All right. So I'll just really quickly run through the gear. Honestly, for Tsukiko, gear is irrelevant. She can be naked. She's literally just here for support. Same with Sylvie. Sylvie can be perfectly naked. You don't really need her for anything. She's just going to be in her Brave Shift form doing some buffs and whatnot. And the Demon Killer to Genesis. Reagan, here he is, fairly similar build probably to what you saw yesterday. Just one piece of Ruler's Cal gear, but that's not necessary. His damage is going to be fairly irrelevant. He's really just here to chain with Rain. You could easily slot in a better damage dealer, like if you have Dwayne, throw Dwayne in here. He's going to be able to take care of that much better for you than Reagan will, as you'll see. But still built him up with some killers. He doesn't really need too much because he hits a lot of those killers pretty quickly and innately. Chizuru's card just is sort of like a budget option there. So he's got 300 to all the killers and 300 LB damage. All right, so he's gonna do the best he can, but he's not really here for the damage. He's more as a chain slave. Aphmau doesn't need anything, as you can see, totally naked. Just need to be EX2 to get that LB up on turn 1. Like I said, if you don't have Aphmau, throw in Cacteria. She's a great option as well. You could also use Kaito, who can do a perfect dispel on his 88% break. So, yep, a lot of options there in place of Aphmau. Genesis is pretty much the same build you probably saw if you watched my video yesterday. He's got his STMR. Even though he's EX1, definitely worth it to use an STMR Moogle on that. It just helps makes him a little bit easier to gear and to build. You could also go with the Dark Vision's sword on him. It just makes gearing for killers a little trickier, but it can be done. Genesis's coat is a great equip for him, so that frees up, if you don't have a certain piece of Clash of Wills gear. I will say the Prophet's diadem is pretty important, especially for an EX1, Genesis. If you have like an EX2 or an EX3, it becomes less important, but it's really great for the MP. So the Prophet's diadem provides a crap ton of MP, both static and in passives. So yeah, it's really, really great equip for your Genesis. All right, and then just, some high mag gear. Yeah, so here are the killers to make sure that he's topped up on all his killers. Dazzling Demoness, of course, is really great, but if you have Olivera's Vision card, that's a fair enough swap here. So you can see he's got 300 Beast, 300 Demon, 300 Machine. Make sure you're looking in the magic column because he's all magic damage here. All right. And then, my Flaring Ether Rain. So he's obviously bumped up and ready to go. He's EX3, so of course he's going to be dishing out some serious damage. Doesn't need to be EX3, but he does need to be at least EX2 to get that LB off on turn 1 if you want to follow this as a first turn clear strategy. Plenty of Clash of Wills gear, but that's not entirely necessary. He obviously has his own vision card, but just put the best vision card you have on him if he's only EX2. And he should be fine. We're going to do a fair bit of overkill with this team, as you'll see. All right. And so, and like I said, if you're not quite getting the damage, definitely swap Reagan out and put somebody, somebody better in there. You could put Chizuru in his slot, and you can actually chain, Chizuru and Rain together, and it'll perfect chain. It'll be perfectly fine, especially since Chizuru's is a tag chainer. That just makes sure that the chain doesn't break, but they do weave together. As long as you tap them at the same time, they should weave together just fine. So there's a good option to slot into Reagan's spot there. So let's see how we get this done on the first turn. All right, so the boss starts out with a whole heap of morale, but we don't really care about that because we're just going to kill this thing on the first turn, so that honestly doesn't matter. What does matter is that field that you see. You don't actually see like a visual field on the battlefield here, but just notice up in the upper left-hand corner where it says Boost Defense and Spirit. That is the field effect that the boss has put into place. So we need to get rid of that. So we'll take care of that first of all. So Tsukiko, she can do Blessed Omamori. You really only need Blessed Omamori if you're not using Aphmau, because you need Blessed Omamori is what does the fire imperil. So you don't really need to do that with Aphmau on the team, but if you had Cacteria or if you're bringing Kaito to do the perfect dispel, then you'd need to do Blessed Omamori. So I'm going to go ahead and do it, all right, because otherwise she doesn't really have anything to do. Maiden's Consecration Fire for the Fire Imbue. The Imbue is really just for Reagan, because, Rain is already fire locked, Genesis is fire locked, all right, but this also does a 30% fire amp for the party. Okay, it's not much, but it's better than nothing. And then Purging Mandala Fire for the Fire Imperil field. Okay, so we'll do that. And you see that gets rid of the Defense and Spirit field, puts up the fire resistance. Now, the other thing we want to get rid of is the boss's Defense and Spirit buff. Okay, so that is dispellable. So we'll go ahead and use Aphmau. We'll use her LB. Okay, and that will get rid of the Defense and Spirit buff. Put up the 88% full break and all the imperil. So you can see the Defense and Spirit buff is gone. All right, now we have not been, the only thing that the boss has done to us has been to lower our resistances. So the boss doesn't actually do any accuracy debuff until the boss's first actual turn. So it's not a preemptive accuracy debuff, so you don't have to worry about accuracy on this one. Now we're still going to use Sylvie's attack and mag Paladin's offense, which has the physical accuracy boost on it, but that's why you can swap her out for someone like Dark Lineage Fina, for example, or just another good buffer that might have the killers. Like you could use an EX2 Rosa or EX2 Ilmatel, EX2 Ihana, because they all have a preemptive Omni Killer, plus their LBs do a buff, like a 300% attack and mag buff with 250% LB damage boost. So those are some great swaps for Sylvie in this place. All right, Sylvie will just do Paladin's offense. She's going to do Poached Demon on Genesis. And then she'll do I've Got Your Back on Flaring Ether Rain, just to give him a slight bump on his stats and his LB damage. All right. That also means you could use an EX... Actually, now that I think about it, that means you could use an EX1... if you had Sylvie, you could actually use an EX1 Flaring Ether Rain, because Sylvie will fill him up on turn 1. Oh, that's kind of interesting now that I think about it. All right, so Reagan does his LB, Rain does his LB, Genesis does his nuke. Okay, Rain starts, of course, because that will activate the 40% Sword Imperil for Reagan and Genesis. So we'll send Rain and Reagan together, and then wait a second, and then do Genesis. And we should nuke this guy from orbit. And there you go. All right. So this puppy is pretty thick. All right, I will admit he's pretty thick, and that was actually a pretty low roll for Genesis. I'm usually doing like 2.3, 2.4, but you know, that gets the job done on turn 1, so you can farm it up, or at least, you know, use that to get you through, get you through up to hopefully a pretty high level before you maybe need to make any adjustments. All right, so yeah, that was a pretty low roll on Genesis there. He's usually doing like 1.2. Again, he'd probably do better if he was an EX2 or EX3, but yeah, or if I had, if I had more killers, but this is just a first turn kill strategy, so not a lot of time to squeeze in all that stuff, but that's how I managed to get this one done quickly up to level 99. Hopefully this little strategy is helpful for you guys. If you're just looking for a quick and easy kill, or if you're just looking for a farming team, hopefully this one will help you guys out. Stay tuned, because I will be working on some other clears. I'm going to work on some no mod clear teams, and then eventually start working on a rank 1. But I might save a rank 1 until they finally finished fixing the HP lock bonus mod. All right, that way, that way I can actually put a team together to make sure that it actually gets through a rank 1 with that modifier activated, all right? Because I don't want to put something out that's just going to be, it's not going to work once they fix the bug. I got to say, I'm tired of seeing these bugs in Clash of Wills. Hopefully they fix this one very, very quickly. But anyways, that's enough for now. Stay tuned, more coming, and I will see you guys on the other side.